What's going on? See, I try to get Facebook to go, and Facebook is now having issues. I'm trying to come back to them, but I'm having problems with them. So we just gonna rock with YouTube where we need to be rocking.
There you go.
Team No Sleep. What's today? July 24th. Oh my God, July 24th. It's hot, California, but it don't matter. Montel Allen is over there, so you know we're gonna have a good conversation. What it do, brother? How you living?
Me personally, I'm always blessed, man. I'm very blessed. Can't count the blessings
Can't
that I'm
count
getting.
them.
So I'm all, I always want to praise God, man, and then just be thankful. Shout out to my man Magic Lindsay. I got to see him last night. A really good friend of mine, my old college roommate. We got to hang out last night, chop it up, and we talk about his successes and all of his life, man. The brother just brought a lot of joy to my heart. So shout out to him. I can't complain, man. I'm good to go.
Love it. Love it. Listen, we got the usual cast of characters in the building. Appreciate y'all for chiming in the comments. We're gonna have a open discussion about a handful of things. We're gonna get into what we got to get into. Listen, Dan Ross, hello, Team Kamala. I love you. You gonna go down the political route already, huh? It's all good, brother. It's all good. Listen, we talk about the social impact of sport. I think that being the premise and the mantra of the program is one thing, but again, when things happen in society, when things happen in community, we are typically the ones to break that news, and unfortunately, a lot of times it's unfortunate news, and we being citizens can't not talk about what happened in Chicago. We being, I don't know, grown men, we being law-abiding citizens, we being fathers, we being husbands, we just being decent human beings. And man, and living in today's world where I see it, there is no doubting Thomas's, right? I actually can actually put my hands in the side, in the wounds. I can actually see the video of what happened. What happened to Sonya Massey is not right. She was murdered, and at the hands of someone who was designed to protect and serve. Happened in Chicago. I was just in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. Marcella is probably going to be there, he said, in a while himself. So we know these areas, and it's not just relegated to certain particular parts of the country or the globe or whatever. But this story right here, man, we were talking before we went online, man. And again, I have not watched the unedited video. I haven't watched the uncensored video because you can get that on like TikTok and other various locations. I've only seen the blurred out version on CNN and things like that. But this got me in kind of a mood. Talk to me and y'all in the community as well. Let's talk about this, right? We need to have this dialogue about what happened here to this young lady.
Probably one of the most horrific acts we've seen on camera done to a person, in my opinion. I watched the video. I was trying not to watch it because I didn't want to be upset, but I ended up watching it, and it's murder. And the fact of the matter that this gentleman in any kind of way tried to justify it as a police officer really irritates me. And anybody that doesn't know the story, Miss Massey called the police because she thought she heard an intruder. There was no intruder. I guess they were investigating. They questioned her. They came into the house. They had a heated conversation of somewhat, and the police officer shot her 3 times, one being in the face and killing her. I let people pass their own judgment, but based on what I saw, she wasn't a threat to the officer. There was something said that she might have thrown an object at the officer or tried to throw hot water on the officer from the boiling pot. I didn't see that in the video at all. And even if then he was further enough away, if she tried to do anything like that, he could have either dodged it or made a different maneuver where that didn't happen. In the video I saw, he didn't do anything to de-escalate the situation.
Right.
He actually escalated it. And this is an officer with a very murky track record.
That's why I got it on the screen right now. That's literally why I got that part on. Work for all these different agencies in a short period of time. Charged multiple times with driving under the influence. Man, this guy, come on, how many strikes can the police get?
Yeah,
okay.
not only do the police get, but I mean, now we're running into a situation now where this person is supposed to be protecting someone,
Mm-hmm.
and he kills her. He murders her on camera. And the crazy part about it, if we didn't have that footage, the story would have been she probably attacked him or whatnot, and he would have probably got away with it or got out of the situation. We had, luckily, they had the body cameras, which I'm glad they had. I don't want to get political at all. I would like to applaud Kamala Harris for her saying the FBI should take action on it, like the George Floyd, and call it the George Floyd case, where they immediately charged the officer and investigated. No waiting. I haven't heard the other presidential candidates say anything about it or acknowledge the situation. But I mean, we're in a society, man, where I think people don't realize that Black people have to protect themselves from all faces of danger, including the people that are supposed to protect us. And that's a sad, sad situation. And I know there was claims that she had maybe possibly had mental health issues. Regardless of what issues she had, she never posed a threat to the officer. So why did he kill her? And why do we have to keep having these stories, that happen to people that look like us? Regardless
Yeah,
of, and this was
this.
I mean,
I mean, you.
let's go down the line. We got George Floyd, we got Breonna Taylor, we got the man that was shot in his apartment because the officer mistakenly did it in Dallas several years ago. We got all these incidents with police officers, and I'm sure they happen to other races too. I'm pretty sure, but I'm saying we keep seeing it pulverized on us, man, and it's pretty scary, being in that situation, man, and to see this young lady had lost her life right when we're getting ready to go through this whole situation with elections and all that stuff, man. It's stressful for a lot of people, and I can only imagine the people in that community.
That's a good word. That's the best word. There's anxiety and there's stress. What's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you guys don't know the story, or Montel gave a great recap of it here, but all she was doing when the officer came into the house was she was talking to him. Yeah, it got heated, but listen, Black folk, we loud. We listen, we loud, and we get animated and things of that nature. But the woman was saying, I got it on the screen right here. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. She kept saying, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. She repeats that, and then that's when the officer says, better not swear to God, or I'll shoot you in the face, with a handful of expletives in the middle of that. And sure enough,
So
that's
you
what he
shot her in
did.
the face. So again, this is the one part I don't understand. I don't understand, and I've never understood it in my life. Why is it wrong for us to disagree with an officer?
Mm-hmm.
In just a verbal conversation. Verbal. We don't. It's not confirmed. Not I'm being threatening. Not that I'm ready to fight. I'm not ready to attack him. But if I disagree with him, it's all of a sudden that I committed a crime, and now I got to do everything he says like I'm a damn child. And I've been in those situations. If I question the officer and anything he's doing, he starts to become combative. Oh, you're resisting arrest. You were doing this. You're resisting this. I disagree with what you pulled me over for. I disagree with what you're telling me. I don't understand why that's a problem. And now it's escalated to a situation where this lady lost her life. And the Massey family, my prayers go out to you. I really do, and the people in Chicago and that community, because I can only imagine being in Chicago, where we already know the height of violence that's going on in that community due to not a lack of police and a lack of protection, and then the fact that matter you get killed by a police officer to come help somebody. I can't even imagine the anxiety that community is feeling and those families are feeling by the effect of this. I mean, Chicago right now, we already know it's one of the worst areas, and you can try to blame the people that are in Chicago, but there's a method to this madness, and I don't know what it is just yet. But I mean, you got to understand, Chicago 15 years ago had several different areas and projects or low-income housing across the city. Now that's all been delegated to one area. That's the south side of Chicago. Remember, they closed down Cabina Green's towers that they used to have and all these other different places they had that were there to kind of get them in one concentrated area. And you got to understand, from a place that used to maybe have 5,000 residents, now has 150,000 residents. All low income, all no opportunity, no lack of opportunity, very hard to education, very hard to get out of that poverty-stricken situation. What that grows is frustration and anger. And obviously, we know what happens when frustration and anger hits in. That's why you have mass shootings. in all these situations, or all this gang violence and all that, because you got a lot of people in a concentrated area. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm just telling you the reason why it's kind of happening more often than you see when you look on TV. You got to imagine, just to give you guys understanding, imagine if you had, let's say San Diego, Southeast San Diego, and then you pile the people all across by the border in that Southeast San Diego area, which is probably like maybe 20 radius blocks, and then you pile all the people from Oceanside in there, and then you pile all the people from East County in one concentrated area, and you say live. Figure it out. You're going to get a lot of mixed emotions going on. It's going to be hard to make those things go away. And it's sad. And the people that are supposed to protect you are also the people that are also murdering you as well. So it's tough. It's really, really tough.
Yeah, this one again, man. This one is weird. It's not. Nothing is adding up to protect and serve. And Marvin says they want to show they have control of the situation. But man, this dude Grayson, just no remorse for anything. Right?
I got a question. I got a question for you in the audience. I got one more real quick. I got a question for you. Seeing this situation, how do, and I want people that are tuning in, how do you expect the community to now trust the police officers?
I've never had a positive relationship with. I love our firefighters. I love our firefighters. I love our military, but I've had too many unnecessary run-ins with officers. So I'm leery and anxious. Was that the word that we were using as well? But so man, I just, again, it doesn't change my mind or my perspective anyway. It maintains more what I tell my kids in terms of when they go out and if they have to deal with law enforcement. 92% of officers, I'm sure, are good and decent. Go home, cut their grass, mow their lawn, right? Wash their cars and respect the communities that they serve in. But that 8% that's the loudest, these Graysons, the ones that are out here carrying multiple weapons on their multiple sidearms and acting like they the ones. Again, man, I'm normally not at a loss for words, but I don't like this. I don't like anything about this, and I just want to stay away from anyone who thinks that they're in a seat or in a position of power where they think they have control or they have dominion over me. Right? Because I just that doesn't even sound right coming out of my face. And
well,
I'm sorry. I don't. Y'all can say what you want about me. I just don't have a lot of love for officers.
That's pretty crazy because I feel the similar way. I think I've had more bad encounters with officers than I had good. I've had more bad encounters with them than good, and that's in a lot of levels, even from when we were young. When we were running the streets in Sacramento, dancing and doing all the things we were doing and having, I've always had bad experience with officers. It's very rare that I had a good experience with one, And I've had a couple. Don't get me wrong. I've had a couple where they were really, like you said, I've been a part of that 92%. It was good people, really good people. I do too, Starks. I got some good friends that are cops, and I talk to them about the situation all the time about when bad things happen, and they typically agree with me, like, man, that's uncalled for. But that, man, it's like they say that one rotten apple destroys the whole batch, or you're guilty by association. It's okay for us to have those terms put on us, so how come we can't put it on them? It's the same thing. That it spoils, man. And the crazy part about it, they have quite a few spoiled rotten apples, that are poison in their patch, and it's being aired out, and I'm glad it's being aired out. It's tough, man. This one hits a little hard, man, because like I said, I watched the video. The video is really disturbing.
Yeah,
like there's no reason why he had to kill that woman.
Yeah,
none at all.
No threat of weapon. The only threat the threat was of hot water.
Supposedly
and being rebuked. The woman was rebuking him. So, and if you want, I'll put the link, folks, to the CNN story. You've probably seen it all over, regardless of where you get your news. Who cares? I don't care if you get your news from Fox, from MSNBC, CNN, whomever, wherever. The camera don't lie. And old boy, he didn't have his camera on. Camera came
his
from
partner, right? It was his partner that came in.
Yeah, he didn't turn his camera on until after he shot her. So again, I want to be a conspiracy. That's not what we do. That's not who I am. But was this premeditated? I'm going to this black woman house and we gonna make a. Nah, nah. But
I won't say. I mean, I won't say it's premeditated, but I'm saying there was nothing stopping him from doing what he did that night at all. There was nothing going to stop him from doing it because he escalated the issue. He escalated the problem. Once he did everything to provoke the situation and not to de-escalate it. And from my understanding, the police were supposed to de-escalate situations like this, go in there and be the voice of reasoning, especially when she called them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like somebody called them.
See, you start putting pieces together. Look, I called you to come to my house.
No one in the neighbors wasn't calling to say she's disturbing the peace. She wasn't playing loud music. She wasn't acting belligerent. She was a little off with some of her questions, but that doesn't make you a threat because you're a little off. It's the things you say. She was complying with the officer, what he said. They're the one that told her to go to the stove and turn it off because she only wanted to, and then she did. And then the heated escalation ensued. And then this man, for some reason, felt he needed to draw his gun and shoot this poor woman. And that part, it messes with my psyche a little bit, man. I don't know why. Because that could easily been James Hicks making that phone call. That could have easily been Montel Allen making that phone call.
Be careful out there, folks. Be careful out there. All right. This is this ain't just some fellas out in the street acting a fool, causing problems. This is you call the police. Police came to your house and you didn't make it.
Yep.
Be careful out there.
Well, but now I think hopefully our other part of our audience realize when their people of color counterparts tell them stories or incidents they have with the police, and they try to minimize it, or they try to oh, that's not a big deal. They try to just really minimize what you're trying to tell them about how you were either you were just in a bad situation with the police, and they try to say, oh, that doesn't happen to them. Man, we need to take it serious because this does happen. And this ain't the first time this happened to somebody. This is the first time they caught it on film.
Yeah.
I mean, in our communities, and a lot of these communities, not so much California because it's a little bit different, but them states like in Mississippi and Arkansas and all these places in the Midwest, the mentality is a lot different. It's a lot different. And these things still happen. And this happened in a major city, Chicago. In the Midwest, situations still happen. I mean, just please be careful out there, please.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's unfortunate we can't trust everybody, but I think now people realize why we don't have a great relationship with the police in these communities, in these neighborhoods.
So something's going to be served. Either a book's going to be thrown at them, to whatever extent. I mean, it doesn't bring back Sonya, but it's good to see here. Officials deemed the deputy's actions as unjustified use of undeadly force. So again, coming from that other 92% that looked at this video and got the report, hey man, this you didn't really need to go to this extent based on the story. So we'll let this play out, and you know how we typically do here. We keep track of these kinds of stories, and we'll find out what's going on. Because again, this matters, and this will start reverberating. So back to the sports thing, we'll probably start seeing maybe NFL starting up, right? Or we'll start seeing teams start having interviews and talking about these social injustice types of things, especially some of the more marquee players. Right? Yeah. I think the U.S. team, when they get back from the Olympics, because again, they want to keep the Olympics buttoned up, but when the NFL starts talking, maybe when LeBron and them come back home, there'll be some attention to this. And then back to a political thing, it'd be nice if the Democratic candidate, the Democratic nominee would say something about this.
Well, she did. She did. She did. I mean, she did. I accused her for saying her. I thought she didn't say anything.
Okay.
I was really upset. But she did come out and say there needs to be immediate action taken, and he needs to be charged with the George Floyd like a law. It's a law. I forgot. I can't remember the name. Like the George Floyd law, where where you're prosecuted to the fullest being a cop
Okay.
and all that stuff by one person. She did come out and say something, which she typically hasn't said anything when these issues, or we haven't heard her say anything. This one she did come out and say something. The Republican presidential candidate, I haven't heard him say anything publicly yet about the situation. But regardless, man, this is a political view. This is a sports view. This is a everybody should be concerned. This is a everybody social impact. This isn't just sports. This is everyone should be concerned about this situation, because something like this could happen to anybody.
Mm-hmm. And this is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting what Marvin is saying too. And this is kind of some of the stuff that Cap was doing. That Kaepernick was doing. Absolutely. And I saw some stories about him recently in the news. So, I mean, he's still very influential.
Yeah, well, I mean,
not telling somebody what to do, but Cap, hey, get out there on your platform too. Our platform, we do what we can, but let's get some of these other folks.
And I'm glad we're able to use our platform to at least talk about it, discuss it, and put something out there, because, again, most people are going to run away from it. They'll run away from this story. They'll maybe mention it and then run away from it. I don't want to run away from it. I really want to face it head on and talk about how it impacts. And something like this really impacts every urban community in the United States, because this happens. And this happened to an innocent lady. Mm-hmm. There was, like I said, they called the police because she thought she heard something. And man, that's the most disturbing thing. For someone,
that's tough, man. Yeah,
when you're calling for help, and that help ends up hurting you, man, it's sad. It's very, very sad. So I hope everybody out there sends a prayer for the Massey family. Nothing will replace this situation or replace her as a human being. But I mean, I hope her family gets justice, and I hope justice is served on the officer that murdered her.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that, man. Yeah, I thank you for pushing me into having this conversation. All right, because again, I put blinders on for a little bit after I saw some of the video and after I read it initially, and I was like, man, it's tough. So, all right, let's get into it. I see them checking comments here. I see folks. I think we caught up on the comments. We got that taken care of. Like I said, we also like to flashback on stories that we talked about before. We're going to change the tone just a little bit. Listen. When you file for bankruptcy, it is my understanding that means that you don't have any money, or you can't pay your creditors. Something is going on where the funds are low. Shilo Sanders, y'all know, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about this young brother, son of Dion. Shilo out here getting him a new Tesla Cyber truck. He out there, his brother got one. So Shador's got one. So, okay, the brother got to get him one too. But he getting him a $120,000 Cyber truck. Not many people have them. And he wrapping it now in the Colorado colors. Hey, bruh. Where you getting this money from? If you bankrupt and you owe Citibank and JCPenney and Sears and Mervyn's or whomever you owe, how you afford to give Elon Musk $110,000 and then pay to get it wrapped in your custom colors?
Not a good look, man.
Math ain't mathing, brother. Just like you say, the math ain't mathing.
I mean, more so than that, man. What kind of example are you setting?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just keep it real. Like, you're filing for bankruptcy. You supposedly can't play this thing, this and that, the other. And even if you borrow the money from your brother, how come your brother can't borrow you the money to pay back the creditors that you owe? You know what I'm saying? Instead of buying yourself a cyber truck.
Yeah.
Why come Dion can't put himself in a situation to help you? He's making millions and millions of dollars as well. If you borrow the money to get the cyber truck from them, why don't you borrow the money to pay for your creditors? So I have a kind of a hard time wondering just why. Why? And honestly, what is the point? What's the point? I'm sure you was driving a nice car before. What's the point of you getting a cyber truck all of a sudden, going into your senior year playing ball, and flossing it all over social media, right? Knowing you're in the midst of bankruptcy. You know,
Again,
like
that just
what?
it don't make
Like you
sense.
don't.
I'd have told the
It's
courts I don't have no money. I can't pay my Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Oh, but I can
but
get one of these.
remember. Let's be right. Remember, this is a mess because somebody was suing him, right, due to that incident he had in school. Am I correct? He was getting to get sued.
That is true. Yeah,
So
he got into an altercation. Yeah,
so he was claiming I don't have no money, so you can't sue me. That's what is, that's what
that
you filed the bankruptcy for. I don't.
that's what you
I'll be
told.
honest. I don't
That's
think it
what
was
you
against
told
the
the law.
creditors. Yeah, I don't think it was with the creditors. I think it was one of those situations. Hey, file for bankruptcy. He can't sue you for these hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that he's trying to come after you with. If you file for bankruptcy, you win. There's nothing he can come get. You're in the clear, and you kind of go that way. But it's hard to win the case, man, when you're in the midst of all this and you buying $100,000 truck. You know. Now we don't know. Maybe he settled with the guy. I don't know. That wasn't presented in the story. If he settled with the guy, and then he's going to pull back on his bankruptcy. Maybe that's a whole different story. But Shilo, if you're still in the middle of a bankruptcy and you just bought $100,000 truck, or somebody gifted you $100,000 truck, brother, you about to be in trouble because they are going to deny you because it is all over social media.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if he's Shilo has cleared that case or whatever. Is he going? Shiloh reacts to his EA Sports. Oh, he's worrying about his ranking on EA college football and buying cyber
Of
trucks.
course,
No, nothing about paying his
yeah.
debts.
So to me, and this is the crazy part, man. This is what I don't understand. Deion seems to be a pretty bright guy, right? Deion's a pretty bright guy. So I would assume his wisdom is passed on to his kids. I know you're smart enough to tell your kids this isn't a good move, right? In the midst of your situation. I would think he's a fatherly, a fatherly influence that could talk to his kids and let them know, hey, you're making a bad decision by doing that, and so on and so on, instead of letting him do something like that and put himself all the way out there. So something is not right.
I mean,
At
because
all.
this right. I mean, if we're talking about it, and just imagine again next year when he goes in front of all the scouts and all the teams, and he goes to the combine, and then they start saying, I mean, let me talk about you and your character. And if I'm gonna give you 10, 20, $50 million, and you can't, I mean, it just, why have the conversation? Why even bring up this piece, this distraction?
To me, the social impact is a bad example.
Yeah.
It's a bad example of how you act at things. It's a bad example of how you handle your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And he has a lot of young people that look up to him and look up to the Sanders family and look up to playing for Colorado Buffaloes. Period. That's what it is. And he's setting a bad tone and a bad example by purchasing this $100,000 car when you're in the midst of bankruptcy or in the midst of a bankruptcy trial. So for me, that's the impact, man. You got a lot of people that you're influencing, and you're just setting a bad example by your actions the actions that you're doing and the way you're spending money, frivolously. Don't get me wrong. I know your father has a lot of money. I know your brother's coming to a lot of money. You're kind of the third one on the totem pole getting money, but you got a little bit of something. But the fact that you're reckless spending your money like this when you're in the midst of all these things sets a bad example for our people. So, and for sports kids that are coming in, not only just for sports kids and people that idolize you and look up to you, it's really just setting a bad example of how you're handling the situation. And at some point, you got to take accountability. And I find it baffles me that Deion wouldn't give him that foresight. I just can't believe that because he's usually very on point with everything. He's very strategic with everything that he does, right? He's very very calculated in what he says, what he speaks, and what he talks about, and especially when it comes to football and his team. I'm assuming that's the same way he's with his kids and his family because he's been like that way up to this point, right? Shiloh's kind of privileged spending. We haven't heard anything about the Deion Sanders kids. Pretty much all, even when in the midst of the case, we never really heard about it. It was on hush. Nothing ever was said. So I know he's very calculated in what he says and what he says and what he instructs his kids to do. This one right here just baffles me. I don't know. And I know you can't tell a grown man what to do with his money, but I'm sure Deion has some influence, and this is a bad look. This doesn't make any sense.
That's a good one. It's just it's a distraction that does need to happen, and at the end of the day, it may affect that money. So right there, we know Dion is talking about it, right? And we know
Yeah.
Dion is huddling the boys behind the scenes, like, hey, come on now, just do better to be
Well, you
better, kind
can't.
of thing.
Shador, you can't. Shador's fine. He's fine. You know, hey,
Yeah.
you got your money, spend it the way you want to. I'm okay with it. You're fine. But Shilo, unfortunately, homie, you in a situation where you can't do it. That you just can't do it. And again, if it was a gift to you, but you know you're about to be in this bankruptcy case, don't you think just the aesthetics looks bad that you're driving around in a brand new $100,000 car? When you're claiming you don't have the money to pay these bills, or you're claiming you don't play these things, you want to file bankruptcy so this man can't sue you for all this money. The aesthetics just looks wrong. If it was me, I'm still driving a Honda Accord.
Listen, in a minute,
Laugh at me all you
Volkswagen
want.
Scirocco, brother.
Yeah.
Volkswagen Scirocco.
I'm driving the little whip that gets you back point A to point B. If I need a floss, I'll borrow daddy's car, I'll borrow my brother's car. It's not my car. I don't own it. I can't afford it. That's what I'm claiming. You know, and I'm go ahead and I'm hiding all the rest of my money under the mattress for the time being, part of this thing going. But the bottom line, man, this just doesn't look good, and it sets a bad example. It just sets a bad example.
Bad example. Marvin says sometimes you got to let them fall on their face to learn an example. It's unfortunate this probably is going to get blown underneath the covers or swept away as well, and it'll be forgotten. Somebody will bring it up. Somebody will remember it, obviously, when he goes in front of those coaches during the combine and doing all of that. But it'll be
when he goes in front of that judge in that court.
Watch your tone there. Now you're talking about. See, there we go. That's even more critical, right? When you forget Coach Belichick, we talking about.
Let's be real. If I was the one that was suing him for an incident, and I'm trying to win this money, and he's claiming he's filing bankruptcy, so I can't get nothing out of him. The first thing I'm going to do is download all those pictures of him driving around in this brand new $100,000 car. Like, how can you be broke when you just bought a $100,000 car? So, you know, please dismiss his bankruptcy case. Let me pursue my suit and let me get my paper for him, you know, for the incident that we had, and keep it pushing. I don't understand how come he hasn't settled. Like, why wouldn't you not settle the situation and just keep it moving and get that off your record so he can concentrate on football? Yeah. So now he has another distraction in front of him because people like us are going to be critiquing him online about how this is a bad decision. So
we're gonna do our best, Shay, and you know, talk about everything. And I'd rather liken us to Shay than Stephen A. Y'all know I'm not a Stephen A. guy, so I'll do a Shay. So that's that. All right, we're gonna keep moving just a little bit. Again, recapping some previous stories. Brett Favre, Packers, ex-Packers, ex-Minnesota Vikings. You know, QB. He was a bad man, a gunslinger, but again, karma is just following this boy. Everything he touched turns to everybody around him. Y'all know the story about Favre. You can look back at our old episodes, but now ex-associates pleading guilty to what? The welfare case.
Still that money.
So everyone in his circle is saying, "Yeah, you know what? We was wrong. We did it. We put this money someplace else." So Favre, again, what you say? Walk like a duck, talk like a duck, smell like a duck. What you know, you are who you hang
quack,
with.
Quack, it's a duck. It's a duck. Hey, you know what's crazy? And I don't know if you caught this, but like I believe either early this week or last week, Brett Favre was calling to claim a suit against Shannon Sharp about defamation of character because how he talked about him during about the situation. And now it's coming out of everybody, all the associates are pleading guilty. I guess Brett is going to try to stick to his guns and plead innocent, I'm assuming. But, man, you took the money, man, and you didn't have to. You should have just given it back. And you committed a crime. I mean, I have a lot more respect for you if you just stood up and had integrity and took some accountability and said, you know what? I misused the funds.
Yeah.
I took the funds. I misused it. I think they've already given the money back, but that's not the point. The point is that you did take the funds. Just say I misused them. I did. I inappropriately misused them. I was funding them to my daughter's school to do these things instead of doing instead of the fund what it was supposed to be. And I deeply apologize and I accept whatever's given to me. He's not going to jail.
Even though, and I've got that. So I mean, right there, that's a good point right there, right? So the wire fraud carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Brett Favre ain't going to jail for 20 years.
He ain't going to jail for 10, 20 days.
And the United States, either, it's good or bad, take pro or con, take it for what it's worth. We are a forgiving society. If you mess up, if you do something wrong, you admit it. You say, yeah, you know what? Just like Montel just said, yeah, you know what, man, I took that money and I went and built the volleyball courts for my daughter. You do that. Give it a couple of years and then you back. If Pete Rose would, right? I mean, so again, I liken that to if Pete Rose just said, yeah, you know what? I know I cheated. I was bad. He could probably get into the hall. But if you just admit up to your wrongdoing, the United States has a very short memory. And you will be back in the good graces.
Community and society has a short-term memory, especially to people that play sports and are heroes.
Especially to our heroes.
Regardless of what you want to say. Hey, I was a big Brett Favre fan. I thought he was, man, that dude is the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Later in life, his character doing things like this, I don't like him so much. But the bottom line, if you hold some accountability and just submit to it, say, hey, you know what? I went in, these funds were available, I applied for these funds, I took them and I applied them to somewhere else. I inappropriately used the funds. His story would have been gone. No one would even be talking about it. It wouldn't even been an issue. Okay, fine. Yeah, I don't plead guilty. I plead no contest. I'm not doing no jail time. The money's already been given back. No harm, no foul. Don't do it again. That's exactly what that would have been. No. He wants to drag this on out, say he didn't do anything wrong, he didn't know anything, and kind of sticking to his lie, which I understand. I do understand why he's trying to stick to his lie, but now it's starting to backfire on him. I think in a person in his position, in his situation, he should have just been accountable for it. Just just say, man, hey, I'm wrong. You're right. Hey, I took these funds. I thought I could use them for what I needed to use them for. I inappropriately spent the funds. I have no problem in paying it back. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'll cooperate with the courts to the fullest. That's all he had to do to clear his name. That's it.
True. Simple. I mean, the extent of his crime is so Dan, I understand what you're saying right here. So not if you're convicted and try to get a job again, assuming you didn't make millions, right? The extent of the crime of what we're talking about for Brett Favre is I think it is to the point and to the severity where Brett Favre would get, and I won't even say a pass, but Brett Favre would get put in timeout for a few years, and then he'd be back in graces because of his history and because of his legacy. But again, I wanted to acknowledge your comment.
But I'll be going a step further. That's bull, because ex-athletes always get another job whether they got a felony or not. A la Ryan Leaf.
Oh, geez, you flashing back. Good Lord. You young folks don't remember. Good Lord. Okay.
Ryan Leaf was the number 2 quarterback drafted, didn't pan out, got convicted of a bunch of crimes, went to jail. Yeah. Guess what? He's an analyst. So
young folks, go ahead and Google Ryan Leaf. He old school. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get a second chance. They get a chance if they were in that limelight and the success they had. But for a Super Bowl quarterback, he will get another chance, another shot. Felony doesn't apply to him in the retrospect of him getting another opportunity in football to be able to present himself and get a job. So I disagree with that one. On just him personally. Common folk, yes, be a big problem, be a different kind of issue. But Brett Favre is not common. Let's not say he's a regular citizen. It doesn't. The law is different for people like in Brett Favre's situation. It always will and always has been.
True, and I didn't want to interrupt, but I remember too. So help me remember the dude who is the analyst, old school analyst. His son's an analyst too. I saw the analyst for I think the NBA, and he was messing around biting women.
Oh, you're talking Marv Albert.
Marv Albert, right? Yeah. Marv Albert going around biting women, and again he got put on timeout for a minute. Hey, come on, brother, you can't be biting folks. Mm-hmm. Put to the side for a minute, taken off the air, dealt with, whatever the case may be. Now Marv came back. I remember that because I was on the plane flight with his son, and I said, "Hey, I was gonna ask him about his daddy, but I didn't want to ask him. Your daddy's still biting women." But again, don't have to be an athlete. Just have to be, again, someone who's in the limelight, a celebrity, an entertainer, someone who is perceived as important.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be forgiven and have another opportunity. Even if he was convicted guilty of a felony, Brett Favre would have been fine. I don't even think it would have went to that if you played non-contest. I'm pretty sure he pleaded to a lesser charge, and everything would have went away. I just the only part I'm disappointed in Brett Favre is the lack of accountability that he's having in the situation. He said he didn't have nothing to do with it. He didn't know. Come on, man. That's not it's the cat's out the bag. The cat is out the bag. We already know, brother.
He playing old junior high,
Yeah,
high
yeah,
school games, right? Come on, brother.
yeah.
We saw you. You
It's
can't do
all
the
good.
old Eddie Murphy joke. Wasn't me. No, it was you. It
Yeah,
was you.
it was you, and your name is tied to it. It's tied to your daughter's college. You spent the money and you put it somewhere it wasn't supposed to. You took money from a fund that you weren't supposed to take from, and I don't think that's 100% your fault. It's 100% the people that you were dealing with. But since you were part of that team, all you got to do is say, "Man, yeah, we did. I did. I didn't know it was that money. I did spend it on that. I didn't know I wasn't able to spend on that. I'm sorry. We'll give the money back. No harm, no foul. Let's keep it pushing." Everybody in America would have been like, "Oh, okay, all right, Brent, no problem." Nah, you trying to hold fence. And let's not make it like he couldn't have got that money back. Brett Favre could have did a campaign with anybody and got $1 million off the rip just because he's Brett Favre. So if he didn't have the money, he could have got the money. So there's no to me, that's the part that's kind of disturbing, man. Just his lack of accountability and just stepping up and just being the person he's supposed to be and dealing with it. So good luck, Brent.
We gonna get some retweets and some commentary tonight when I cut this up, boy. You think your statement about depression, boy? We ready for the smoke, y'all. We on one tonight, so we buckled in, y'all just be ready. Tell somebody about this show before we go on, because we're no longer live streaming on Twitter. We're only live streaming on YouTube tonight. I'm going to put the show out afterwards on Twitter, give people a little FOMO, a little fear of missing out, just trying to do some different tactical types of things. Facebook didn't fire off for some reason. Y'all know how I feel about Facebook anyway. But listen, this is where we break it down and where we have a lot of deep conversations and we get into some stuff. Oh, okay. What are you waiting for, Danzy? Don't start anything, brother. I'm gonna leave you alone, Mr. Roth. I don't want to get into anything. Listen, Montel, talk about this right here.
Wow.
Right here.
Yeah,
this is right here. NCAA. Somebody talked about this. I can't recall where the conversation was had a little while ago about this exact topic right here. I'm just gonna turn my mic off and I'm gonna let you take these flowers, brother. I'm gonna turn my mic off and let you take these flowers.
Yeah, I told everyone a long time ago that they were going to take away walk-ons, and I didn't hear first that the story broke, but I went more elaborate in it. But now this is proof how walk-ons are going to be obsolete in college, especially college football. So the new proposed thing that will take effect in 2025 is the scholarships will go from, at least in football, from 85 to 105, giving them 20-man roster, but everyone has to be on scholarship of some form or fashion, whether it be partial for the last 20 or somewhat all 105 on scholarship. And talking about football in specific, it's not what it seems. Everybody's we got more scholarships. It's actually bad. In my opinion, it's a catch-22. This is another ploy for NCAA trying to appeal to the Power Four, formerly the Power Five, and forgetting about everybody else that participates under NCAA. You got to imagine now that they can go ahead and give out 105 scholarships. Guys that normally would probably fall down to, the Boise States and the San Diego States now, they can offer them, diluting that product below, because they want to put them on the Power 5 scholarship, diluting the product below, and then making the regular NCAA outside of Power 5 a lot more diluted. Number two, now those guys that normally will be walk-ons on our programs are now in the portal. The portal now is going to be inundated with athletes, even more so than it is. It's already at 10,000 now. It's going to probably inflate a lot more. Kids trying to find a home, which then is going to make some of the lower levels good. But then again, it kind of dilutes some of the things because they can offer more scholarships. Also, this is going to hurt smaller schools just from a budget-wise. Smaller schools, and what I mean by smaller schools, schools outside the Power 5, cannot afford to give 105 scholarships to football and to all these other sports because you got to remember Title IX is there. So for every scholarship you give in the male sport, you have to give in the women's sport. For example, you have 1,000 scholarships that you're giving men. You have to find 1,000 women athletes to be able to get their scholarship. So what that's going to do, it's going to somehow impact smaller schools because they can't financially afford it. And that means also cutting programs. So that means now less athletes are going to have the opportunity to play certain sports in colleges. Man, it looks great on the surface, not so good once you start digging deep for some of the other schools. And again,
and other schools and some of the other sports, kind of as you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And and you can quote me on this. This one you're gonna have to chop up. NCAA is trying to appease the Power 5 or Power 4, just like the Lakers are just trying to make LeBron happy by doing the situations they have done and not signed a free agent. That's it. They're trying to please the Power 4, just like the Lakers is trying to please LeBron in all these situations. And unfortunately, right now, what's the Lakers situation? They haven't signed a free agent, haven't done anything good. This is now the NCAA trying to hold on the court because, like I said before, Power 4 is going to divest from the NCAA. I said in the next 2 to 3 years, no more than 5 years, they will be gone from the NCAA because they no longer need that governing body anymore.
Wow. What do you think, folks? It's, again, the numbers don't lie. The newsprint don't lie. You can look back at our previous show and hear when this was brought up. This is Yahoo Sports. Dated today, 9:43 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that glitters isn't gold, right? Right. All that glitters isn't gold is good for a couple of folks, but you know.
And and I'm a big fan of Division III, Division II, and NAIA football, kind of the lower divisions. Mm-hmm. It's gonna I'm wondering how it's going to impact those. They haven't said how it's going to impact those. At Division I AA as well. How it's going to impact all those schools because it's going to have an impact. It just has some type of impact. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, just what it's going to look like. But this is, man, NCAA. As great as it sounds on the surface, it's just that much bad when it comes to the back end of the lower ends because their players are going to get swallowed up into that 105. And then now we have this one product, and then we have all these players that were walk-ons at these Power 5 schools dropping down, trying to get scholarship at these other schools, the regular NCAA or non-Power 5 schools or Power 4 schools. Then they're only capped at a certain amount. Those players that are no longer on that school are going to drop down and drop down and drop down. So we're lessening the opportunity, and the portal's just getting bigger for a lot of people. Because remember, we're going from 120 roster to 105.
Yeah, 105.
So we're cutting 15. We're cutting 15 people out across the board, and that's I believe there's 134 Division I schools. Don't quote me on that. I think so. That play football. That times 15. That's how many athletes are going to be on that school no more. That's how many people are going to go on the portal or drop down to a lower level.
Hold on, man. How many numbers? So shouts out to my chat GPT. How many D1 schools you today? Your numbers are off, brother.
I said D1 to play football. I'm not going to quote you. Right? 34.
As of March 24th, there are 363 D1 schools in the U.S. Which represent
not that plays football. That play football.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Make it plain, Pastor. Make it plain. Okay. So let me ask this because Dan asked an interesting question. He was wondering, does this realignment, does this also affect HBCUs as well?
Yeah. Anybody under the NCAA governing body. So you already know all HBCUs are non-Power 5. So they're not Power 5. So what's going to happen to HBCUs? Their best players are now going to be able to be offered by a Power 5 scholarship, no longer competing at that level and going to the next level because obviously there's more money and all those things involved in the Power 5. So what that means to me, that dilutes some of the product, right? You're exchanging top players for lower level to go to these higher levels, and now people that were walk-ons on Power 5 are not going to be going down. And once those spots are filled up, it kind of just all trickles down the way and left out and expands the portal for thousands more athletes in there. They can't find a home.
Gotcha. So, what was the number that you gave though? Again, I'm anal.
I said 134. I said 134. I might be off. 134. They play football.
You know you're not off. You know it's 134.
Was it 134? Yeah. Okay. So
Boy.
I'm on point. Yeah.
Montel Allen, yo. I'm just here pushing buttons and making the lights go. This man is bringing.
So
appreciate that.
So
appreciate good.
Make sure you cut
too.
that little clip up that I said about that. That's the one I want.
I'll do the right clip this time too. I'm not dipping into our, shouts out to our sponsor. I'm not dipping into the scotch or the bourbon because last time I maligned the short, and I had two topics in one clip, and I think some of the message got lost. But again, I blame it on the whiskey, y'all. Not drinking any whiskey tonight. I'm just drinking protein shakes. I'm pretty much on point tonight. Here we go. Friday is a good day because it's Friday, but all of our athletes made it to Paris. They didn't get caught up in too much of the delays with airlines unless they fly in Delta, because Delta is tearing folks up right now. That's why I tell y'all, Southwest, don't sleep on Southwest. Don't sleep on. Okay, but Friday opening ceremonies. Hopefully the U.S. does something. We know the U.S. basketball men's is going to do something because they didn't kill everybody and almost got a little something from Sudan. The African brothers almost got him, but they've been showing out, doing their thing. For some reason, our men's soccer team again just can't get right and lost to France 3-0 today. Man, they just trifling, but we got everything. We got a lot of other stuff to look forward to. We got breaking. I told you I'm looking forward to my breaking. We got Coco Golf carrying the flag. We got LeBron carrying the flag. We got Simone Biles back in the business. You ready? You ready for the Olympics, brother?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready for the 2 weeks, man. Extravaganza. It's gonna be epic. Sherry Carter's, who I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see, have her get down and on track. I mean, and let's be real. I'm only gonna watch a certain couple sports. I'm gonna watch track and field. I'm gonna watch boxing. I'm gonna watch basketball, obviously, like everybody else, men's and women's. And everything else, if I catch it, I catch it. If I don't, I don't. I'm not gonna be too upset if I don't watch it. Let's see. I'm different from you. I'm not looking forward to break-in because I don't know what that means. I have no idea how they're going to judge it.
That's not a sport. That's more of an activity.
That's not a sport. Yeah, that's battle. That's a battle right there.
That's what that is. Who got the best cardboard? Yeah, who got the best cardboard.
They try to bring what American. What was it, ABCD or whatever used to have on MTV with the Jabberwockies and all them. That's that.
Yeah, that's all it is. Them Jabberwockies. They shouts out to them too. But there it is right there.
Yeah. So
I love Snoop. I do. I love Snoop. Shouts out to Snoop Dogg. He's out there, but Snoop is everywhere. Why? I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm West Coast. I'm a lead. Snoop making that money though. Go do you thing, boy. He a businessman, but he carrying flags too. He out there. We gonna be at the Olympics in 4 years because they down in Southern California. So we'll just again speaking that into existence, y'all. We spoke about the Super Bowl. Team No Sleep. We will be at the Olympics in 4 years when it's in Los Angeles. But I don't know. See, breaking, dancing, not a sport. But I still want to see it. I got to get in on it.
Man,
I got to check it out.
All you got to watch is what America's Got Talent or something. You'll see all that, man. That's not a sport, man. That's not a sport to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're acknowledging it. Somewhat. But can you imagine the Olympics? What kind of music they're gonna be breakdancing to? Is it gonna be hip hop?
All EDM. It's gonna be all.
Or is it gonna be? Is it gonna be instrumentals? I mean, it just don't feel right. I don't know to me, man. Maybe that's because I'm a traditionalist. It just don't feel right.
Won't be any old school Nas or no old school. Okay, but we'll figure out what it's gonna be. Let me see if I can find. There was a story in the Olympics about again they starting to bear down. I was looking up at the I think it was a Japanese gymnast who got kicked off the team because she got caught drinking and partying. at the in the Olympic Village. So things are
I thought that was part.
happening.
Wait, before you. I thought that was part of the kind of the whole thing. That's why they're in the Olympic Village, right? For them to celebrate, party with each other, hang out a little bit, and do their thing, right?
Well,
That's what my assumption is.
in Japan, you can drink at 20. She's 20, but I believe in Paris the age is different. So got caught up drinking and smoking a couple of times, and so that she got kicked off the team, and she was the captain for the squad. So already got a little drama going on there. I wanted to talk about this right here as well. Just I'm going back and forth because there's so many things going on and kind of relate to the Olympics. So we talked about something like this last week as well with the Copa Americana. Morocco and Argentina had their match. They got to act in the fool. They not the players.
I'm telling you, man.
Not the players, but everyone in the stands got to act in the fool and running out on the pitch.
It's a part of a part of the game culture there, man.
You can't. How do you? No, man. That come on, folks. Y'all can't just be running out onto the field, onto the pitch when folks are trying to do their job.
Why not? Honestly, why not? Why? That's their thing. I mean, come on, man. Their thing is when they doing their thing. And we've seen it so many times. And I'm telling you, I watched Ted Lasso religiously. I saw Ted Lasso. Mm-hmm. That's a big plug for them on Apple TV.
Shout out
Ted
to
Lasso.
TV.
They even had it in Ted Lasso when they fighting and stuff like that. It's a part of the soccer culture. So I mean, yeah, we don't like it because we and all that stuff, and especially like the fans get into it. But again, like I told you before, when it becomes rivalries or things like that or heated exchanges, it always happens. Giants and Dodgers, in the crowd, there's always a fight. Padres and Dodgers, always a fight. It's something that's become expected when you do that sport. Just like in hockey, we expect to see a fight. So we can't judge because the way we look at sports, we can't pass that on to them. I would hope they don't do that, but I mean, it's a part of it's part of the way they rock over there. So I just say if you're gonna go to one of them, just be ready.
I'm gonna sit next to the exit. I'm gonna sit by the bathroom by the exit, just in case, man, because just in case it go down. But there you go, right? Activities is happening in different sports that you didn't think about. We want to see Simone Biles. We want to see the Ledecky do the swimming thing. We want to see the women's and the men's basketball team dominate. Actually, not just win. We actually need somebody to dominate.
And I watch women's soccer too. Or is women's soccer?
Oh yeah, see, the women's soccer team is off the hook. They gonna win. So,
I got a question for you. So what's bigger? Is and I'm not just because I don't know. Is the women's soccer winning a gold medal bigger than winning the World Cup?
No,
the
World Cup is where it's at. In my
That's
opinion,
where it's at? Okay.
Yeah, the World Cup is definitely where it's at.
I love the World Cup when it come on. I used to deny watch it, man, but now I'm actually waiting for it to come on where I got to stay late up at night and catch it sometime early in the morning. So the women, I ain't watching the men's because
the men. I told you I threw my jersey away. I bought one of the jerseys. I threw that one away. I threw that away with my who was that with my Manziel? I told you I bought a Manziel jersey, didn't I? I'm confessing. Well, this is again when he was first
not
drafted.
only that, but I'm saying you wasteful. Why are you gonna throw it away instead of just donating?
I'm keeping the economy going, brother. I'm keeping the economy going.
That's bad move,
we was in
man.
Portland. We went to the Nike store. They had 2 Manziel jerseys. I got a 2XL because they only had 2XL and 3XL. I remember I got the 2XL. Johnny Manziel didn't hit the field at all. I was so mad. I burnt that one. I literally did because I was so upset that I spent all my money and I burnt that. But okay.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and it'll pertain more to football because it's more the steps for it. So do you think Manziel was just that bad of a player, or do you think it was a system he was in and he wasn't able to flourish?
No, I think he was a good player. I don't blame the system. I blame the environment. Not the system. I blame the environment that he was in. I blame the fact that this kid came from very little. Because I watched the story on the Netflix series. I just blame Johnny getting caught up in that fast money and the potential of doing something that was unrealistic. So I don't blame it on the system. I don't blame it on the Browns. I don't blame it on any of his teams. I blame it on him just being around the wrong group of folks and thinking that this is going to last forever. I didn't get caught one or two times. Like, let me just keep doing it. Boom, boom, boom. And it just got away with him. And then obviously the substance use that turned into abuse. So, he was a baller though. He was a baller.
I'll give you that one. I'll go with that one. And one story that I do know about Johnny Manziel that I just heard recently that I never heard it before until it was just told. You know that Mike Evans was on this team when he played at Texas A&M.
Yes,
correct. You know that.
I remember that. Yeah.
So Mike Evans was on there. Mike Evans had a child while he was in college. Did you know Johnny Manziel financially helped take care of Mike Evans that whole time while he was getting paid? And what I mean by that, helping him pay his rent, helping him buy diapers and groceries for his kid, helping him buy clothes for his kid, or the whole nine. Johnny Manziel was using the money he was getting illegally at that particular time, doing all these things. He was actually helping his teammate out financially. And I thought that he gets a bad rap about his character, man. I think that's a good friend. That's a person that's a really, really good friend.
Mm-hmm. That's a good story.
I think he just gets a bad rap to how his personality is or how his persona is because he was arrogant and a little cocky when he played, which I have no problem with that as long as you're having success. But no one talks about that situation where, and he didn't even tell it in his documentary, and he said he purposely left that out because he didn't want to air out Mike Evans or put a different stigma, but he actually took care of him. How many men you know in college is going to take care of you?
Yeah, very, very few. Very few.
Very few. Very few. And especially in nowadays, even I was a little while ago, but even back in those days, which was about a little after we were, very few men is going to take care of another man, especially help him take care of his child and help pay his rent and all that stuff. Because most kids at that age are selfish, right? They're selfish. They want to hold on to all the money and buy themselves all the cars and jewelry they want to buy. This man was helping his teammate out. I think that's a big respect to him. And also another integrity thing. We got to make sure, remember, Johnny Manziel, when his thing came out, his documentary, he was advocating for Reggie Bush to make sure he got it. And he made sure he advocated.
He was the first one that I heard. Yeah, you're right.
Publicly.
Yeah.
So as bad as that guy gets a character rap for the things he did, man, he's not as bad as what people think he is. He's pretty much of a loyal guy, and I have a lot of respect for him.
That's a good way to end this. That's a good way to end, man. On a positive note, we definitely took y'all on a roller coaster today with these stories, but that's that. What was it? There's always another side of the story, like Marvin said. So there you go, right? Don't judge a book by its cover. Whatever analogy you want to use, be good to yourself, first of all. Be good to folks around you. Man. I don't know. I start thinking about rapping this, and I start thinking about some of the other stories that we talked about, but I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. Let me check these stories here. I am my brother's keeper. Y'all go watch that movie too, right there. Y'all go watch that movie right there too.
I believe in that.
Montel Allen, take us home, brother. We did what we needed to do.
Absolutely, everybody. Please stay blessed. First and foremost, just stay blessed out there, and please, and I would keep it up. Be comfortable having uncomfortable conversations because that's how we learn.
Bringing the heat, team no sleep, with champions meet. We're on the mic, taking over the game. No time for rest, no scrambling for fame. Talking sports, breaking it down from the court to the field. All around town, we stay up all night, grinding on the mic, bringing news, real stories on the fly. Marcel's got the stats, James got the flow. Together we're two and ready to blow. From NBA to NFL and the MLB.